Here's a unique little bait that you'll never find on a peg rack at the tackle shop. This little finesse jig accurately matches the motion and profile of a startled crayfish, assuming the defensive posture of claws spread and elevated. I'm not selling them, but the materials to make the first 100 ran about 62.5 cents a piece. The cost of the second set of 100 plummeted to around 14 cents a piece. Jig and pig is friend to a lot of bass anglers. It's not really my friend. I never really liked them because of how much they snagged in the rocks where I fish for smallmouth bass. The approach that I took with jig and pig is a little bit different than the traditional, ball head or football head jig that snags up in the rocks. I decided to go with the swim jig mold from Do It. The reason I like this particular design is that it doesn't snag in the rocks. Actually, there's a couple reasons, but the first is that its banana shaped head really just sleds right through the rocks. The other is it's a real light wire hook, and that's a good thing for real easy hook sets, especially when fishing for bass in cold weather. There we go. Here's one. First of the day. Now I've caught some nice fish with that bronze hook there, but the tinkerer in me never can leave well enough alone. What I'm going to do right here is I have a new hook. This is a wacky jig hook. That's black chrome because I like black chrome as opposed to bronze, and I'm going to modify this mold right here, this swim jig mold. I got my Dremel right here. I've Dremeled away that inside bend so I can fit this one in there. I also made the eye cavity up at the top a little bit larger. And that is the result. All right, now that we've got a bunch of these swim jigs poured up and painted up and cured with the powder paint, it's time to start doing some tying. The materials I like to work with are the round rubber. Round rubber is buoyant and therefore lifts up nicely like the probing antenna of crayfish. I use chenille on the shank of the hook, and I start by tying that on there, and I really just, the chenille to me is a spacer. It keeps the plastic chunk from sliding down. It's also something that acts as a sponge for when I want to apply scent. So I take the chenille and I tie it, close to the back of the weight, and I just wrap that around. I like them tied sparsely like that because the things that we're trying to imitate with these are crayfish, in this case, are very good at what they do. Their job is to sit at the bottom of the river, grab what they can to eat, and not be noticed. The way they do that is they blend in very well to the bottom of the river. They do that by not moving much, so they camouflage. Here's how I like to rig these swim jig and pigs. I take this real little chunk, and I'm not gathering a lot, and I'm not going real far into the bend. And those crayfish claws, as they were, just stick straight up. Not bad for 14 cents a jig.